Alright, hey everyone, thank you guys for coming to my 6th grade fall presentation of learning. So I'm really excited to share with you guys the personal statement and the presentation that I've worked on for you guys. I've worked really hard on it and I'm just super excited to share it. It showcases my personal life, my academic experiences, my goals and my dreams, and how all that has shaped me into who I am today. So I guess let's get started. So this is one of my favorite quotes by one of my favorite people. Always be a first-rate version of yourself instead of a second-rate version of someone else, from Judy Garland. These are words that I try to live by, and I think you'll see how this all relates to me and my life and my experiences later in the presentation. So next I want to talk about my family and how they've shaped me into who I am today. So all the important members of my family are pictured here. We have my parents, my sister, and my 2 brothers, and there's me right there. And of course we have my pets, my 2 dogs, and my 2 cats. Love them so much, they're adorable. So me and my family are super close and they're super important to me. We like to just kind of chill together. Sometimes we have a communal homework session where everyone's trying to help me. We like to go watch my sister perform in her band performances and like to watch my brothers go play sports. And they're super important to me and I love them so much. And next I also want to talk about my friends who aren't pictured here but are still really important in my everyday life. So my 2 best friends are Evan and Jordan. They are kind, they're funny, and they indulge in the same sense of humor as me, which is mostly memes and Vine references. Let's be real here. And I love to talk with Jordan about this anime that she's obsessed with called My Hero Academia because she's so passionate about it, and it's always so interesting to me and so fun when someone is passionate about something and then they want to tell you about it, because that just makes me feel so happy, because that means that that person trusts me enough to share this little piece of their soul that's really important to them, and that makes me feel really good. And with Evan, we just have the same brain. We're like Siamese twins. We're always thinking the same things. We always are having the same thoughts. Yeah, my friends and family have really done their part in shaping me into the glorious human that I am today. So next I want to talk a little bit more about me, because who doesn't? So I want to talk about how my hobbies and my interests have shaped me into who I am today. So my hobbies and interests tend to lean very far towards the more creative right brain side. I'm interested in singing, acting, and drawing, and not so much in science or math. But the singing and acting part really does explain my dramatic and over-the-top personality. So that's one pretty obvious way that these have shaped me into who I am. And another thing that I want to talk about is how I set myself apart from other middle schoolers and most other people. I feel like I have a pretty good handle on my identity, not only with the things I enjoy, but with just who I am and how I present myself to the world in general. If in 3 words I had to describe myself, I would pick creative, messy, and kind, or at least I try to be. And so one thing that has really contributed to helping me understand who I am is the Sanders Sides videos. So there's this YouTuber that I watch who dresses up as different aspects of his personality, his logic, his anxiety, his creativity, and his morality, which inspired me to create my own sides of my own personality, my anxiety, my intuition, my sensitivity, and my curiosity. This has kind of helped me come to terms with my anxiety and my sensitivity, because I can kind of see them as more positive attributes, because I feel like my sensitivity contributes to my empathy and to my compassion, and my anxiety is what pressures me to get out of bed in the morning in small doses. And so this little self-project journey has really helped me in figuring out who I am and accepting some difficult parts of myself. Aside from that, though, I think cats and pizza are the 2 best things to ever exist on the planet Earth, in this galaxy, I might say. And my favorite TV show is Steven Universe, because who doesn't love superhero aliens? No one. So now I want to talk a little bit about school. Yay! When it comes to school and my education, I really love that it provides routine and consistency, because I think without that routine I would go a little bit insane, because I need that day-to-day knowing exactly what I'm going to do, knowing how things are going to go. And I also really love learning in general. Not so much when I'm forced to do it, though. I love reading and I have a strong vocabulary, and I feel like that can help me interpret difficult texts, especially in history that may be written in Old English that's difficult to understand. Language and literature and humanities have always been my strong suits, and I especially am enjoying them this year. Things that I could do without and that could be improved, in my opinion, is how early school starts. My brain is not functioning at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I can't learn properly at 7 o'clock in the morning. I do not appreciate the fact that we have to sit for 8 hours straight. I really struggle with that because I need a little more movement in my school day. Another thing that I really struggle with is math, mainly because of my lack of confidence in my abilities, and I just feel like I'm too slow at it. I feel like I should process the problems more quickly for my age, and compared to my other classmates. So moving on, let's talk about how this year has been for me. 6th grade has been, to say the very least, hectic. The size of the school was very overwhelming to me because I came from a really small elementary school with just over 100 people. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to keep up with everything, that I would fall behind, and that I wouldn't make any friends. But I've proven myself wrong over the course of this year. I have many friends, and I'm keeping up with the work just fine. And my favorite part of 6th grade is making new friends and getting to know new people, because, people are great. So now I want to talk about my goals and aspirations. So my 3 goals are to participate in the school musical this year, which is Mary Poppins Jr. I want to take time to recognize my accomplishments and acknowledge when I've done a good job at something, because that's really hard for me to take a step back and say, oh, I did a good job at this. And I also want to finally buckle down and finish that 4th Harry Potter book, because I've been in the middle of it for about a year now. That's pretty bad. But in the future, I really want to help people through their mental health issues as a social worker. So now that we've gone through all of that, we can kind of see how I'm working on being myself and not caring what anyone else thinks and not imitating other people, just being authentically Jamie. And that's really my goal for 6th grade and really for life. So, yeah. I think my strongest class is definitely in art. I can understand what is being asked of me, I can execute the task that is at hand, and I also add a little bit of my own flair. And down here I have some examples of my artwork. You also saw that in the Sanderside slide. That was also my artwork. That was to the left. So yeah, art is great. We love it. My most challenging class, as I stated earlier, is math. My lack of confidence can sometimes hold me back, and I also said that I don't feel like I grasp the material as quickly as my other classmates or as quickly as I should. I often have to fight the urge to give up, and honestly, it's one of the most exhausting parts of getting my education. My favorite class is humanities because I find the class engaging, and I love how passionate my teacher is, because that makes me want to learn more about the subject, because you can just tell that this is the subject my teacher wants to be teaching. And that's one of the best qualities in any teacher ever. So what is my IB learner strength? I feel that my IB learner strength is caring, because I never want anyone to be sad, because that makes me sad, and I don't like to be sad either. I care about other people's emotions, and when I can, I always try to make things better. And one of the times that I really exhibited this trait, I feel, was when my friend texted me because she'd had a bad audition, and she was just so stressed out, and she was crying, and she was like, oh my god, I don't know what to do, it was so bad, I'm not gonna get the part, I'm so sad and stressed out. And all I wanted to do was just go over there and hug her and tell her it was gonna be okay, but all I could do at that time was just listen and be there. So what IB learner trait do I want to improve on? The one that I feel like I'm a little lacking in is a risk taker. I know a lot of people see me acting on stage or see me raising my hand in class, and they think that I am not afraid of anything, but in reality I think that my anxiety keeps me grounded in doing a lot of things. And one thing that I really, really wanted to do, but I was too nervous to, where I could have used the risk taker trait, was when I was invited to go on a mission trip to Puerto Rico to start repairing some houses and maybe start building some schools and helping some people get back on their feet. But I would have been really far away from home with a lot of people that I barely knew, and I was just too scared, and honestly, that's something I regret a lot, because I wish I could have just helped people and gone and gotten over myself, but I didn't, so I really want to work on being a risk taker. Oops. No? Okay, yeah. So this is where we're at. Okay. So for NWEA, I got a 246 on my reading score. I was in the 97th percentile for achievement and the 77th percentile for growth. And for math, I got a 235. You can definitely see the difference. I was in the 69th percentile for achievement and in the 43rd percentile for growth. So this is basically that, just in more simpler terms. My reading goal is 222, and my reading score was a 246. And the norm is 212. My goal was a 220, and I got a 235, and the math score is, I believe, a 217. So now let's talk about self-reflection. So here I was asked a bunch of statements, and I was asked to grade myself A, B, C, or D. A is always, B is usually, C is sometimes, D is not yet. So I write my assignments in my agenda book. I graded myself with a B. I try my best to keep up, but sometimes, you know, you're rushing out the door, you have to get to Spanish class or whatever, and you just can't, you don't have time to write down that you have a quiz in science the next day. I raise my hand when I have a question. I put C. As I said earlier, sometimes my anxiety can hold me back, and I'm often afraid of being judged because my question is obvious to some other kids. I checked my teachers when I have been absent. I graded myself with an A because it's really stressful for me to not know what I've missed. So when I'm absent, I try to check the Google Classroom, and if I don't understand anything, I always go to my teacher and I say, hey, what did we do yesterday? How can I make up the work? I participate in group work discussions. I put A. It's really important for me that my views and my thoughts are out there in group projects. My backpack is organized. I put A because I know if it wasn't organized, I would go crazy and I would lose everything. I use my locker throughout the school day. I graded myself with a C because I usually just have everything that I need in my backpack, but occasionally I'll go in there to store something or to grab a new pencil or something. I know how to study at home. I graded myself with a B because I know how to study with most subjects. The only one that I really struggle studying with is math because I don't really, like, what do you do? Just do problems like it, or do you just, like, read over the ones you've already done? It's confusing to me. I use my study time hall wisely. That was not applicable to me because I don't have a study hall. I check student portal at least once a week. I graded myself with an A. Grades are really important to me, and so I always try to check and make sure that I'm doing okay. And I know what my 3 goals are. I put A because I feel like if you don't know what your goals are, you don't know what you're doing. So yeah, thank you guys so much for coming to my 6th grade fall presentation of learning. And do you guys have any questions?